All right. It tried to go. It tried to go to Atkinson Consulting,
but it's not up. And we're live on YouTube, though. I'm sure.
Okay. Hey, it's Marshall Atkinson and Alan. Say hey, Alan.
How you doing, Alan? How from Easy Way?
All right. It's Marshall Atkinson and Alan. Say hey, Alan.
How you doing, Alan?
Where's that coming from? All right.
I don't know.
What? It's coming from me. All right. I had the YouTube page open.
This has been a wonderful day. You guys will all hear that. And so whether you're listening it on live on YouTube or later on.
It's Friday drama. So here's what's going on is that I got an email this morning from Facebook that says I've been kicked out of my own Atkinson Consulting Facebook page as the admin manager. And I've got somebody, his name's Dan. He helps me with a bunch of stuff, Facebook pixels and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And it says that he did it, right? And of course, it's 6:30 in the morning. Yes, I'm up working at that time. And so I didn't know what was going on. And so I sent him an email, just didn't think anything of it. And then Alan and I usually get on early to talk about what we want to do for the show. And it's not working. It's not going to go to Facebook, right? So it's just this crazy, crazy thing. So if you're watching right now, and actually we've got some viewers.
We do.
Charles says, hey. Keith says, hey. So I want to just give you guys a shout out for following the breadcrumbs this morning. So we had an emergency, hey, this is what's going on post. We're not on Facebook today, or only on YouTube. I don't know if it's me, if it's Facebook, what it is. I don't know who to give the finger right now. It's probably my fault if we look at stuff, and maybe we will later. But
hey, Marshall, real quick, go back to Charles's profile. Click that up again.
Hold on. Where is he? He's right here.
Charles, you don't have a beard in that picture. I don't know if that's new.
Oh my gosh.
Older one. And those of you who don't know Charles in New Mexico, he was going for best beard in the industry. So, I just
did he give up?
I don't know.
Charles, post a comment if you can about what's up. Yeah.
I just had to point that out. I just looked and go, wait, who is that?
That's a good comment.
That is. So, but yeah, thanks for following the breadcrumbs. We were scrambling and, we're both on, on live here ahead of time, and we're typing in Facebook trying to get messages out. So,
so it's just crazy. And I think this really, what I want to say about this is life happens. I mean, it doesn't go according to plan, especially when you've got a live event coming up. And of course, this happened all about 45 minutes ago, right?
Yeah. Less than that, I think 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. So it was just, so one of these things is you just got to roll with the punches.
Absolutely. And, stuff happens. We keep going on. And, Marshall, you just wrote the book, Moving Past Disaster. And I remember when you called me and said, here's what's happening. We jump online and I just said, it's your book. We got to keep moving. Smaller disaster.
Exactly.
We got to keep moving. So move past this. So that's what we're doing.
Charles says that's an old pick.
Right? Oh, okay.
And our buddy Richard's here. So good
Richard's
morning.
here. Got it on YouTube. All right. So.
All right. So anyway, so we're going to have our show, and Alan and I were talking about, even if nobody watches, if nobody finds us, we're going to do the show anyway, because it's recorded content and you can't shut us up anyway. So
we'd be bored.
Talk, right? So,
well, and this is what you said, it's content. We're just creating our own content.
Right.
Maybe we should throw out there a new little subject. What little disasters happen that you guys have to move through?
Oh, that's a good last minute.
Interesting. Yeah. So
So name your thing that happened to you. Business would be great, but personal also,
Yeah.
that you had to kind of like last minute adjustments, right? And it always happens to us. How
Always
freaked out do you get, right? And
Well, remember the very first show we did this online live, and
yeah,
I couldn't get logged in.
on.
Oh, and thank goodness there was no cameras because I was losing my mind.
Right. That's funny.
Poor Marshall, I kept texting him going, I hate this. This is awful.
Right. That was good. And that's back when we were trying to use Facebook for it. Maybe
Yes.
we should just abandon Facebook, right?
We might have to. If we're going to keep doing this, we might have to get our own little web page.
I know. Yeah. And Cindy's here this morning. Thank you, Cindy, from following breadcrumbs. And I know you watch on YouTube all the time, so she's here anyway. So
yeah, that's awesome. So
right. So let's get going with some of the things we wanted to discuss.
Yep.
And my first thing, and this is just going to be brief, is the YouTube update. And I want to thank my son, Jack, who currently is asleep because he's 16. And I want to thank him for pushing his dear old dad into doing new stuff. And if you didn't watch last week, he is in charge of my YouTube account. So if you're watching on YouTube, this is Jack's sandbox right now. And he has got me set up. And this is something that we're going to discuss in a minute. But he's got me set up with YouTube and a new app that I'm using called vidIQ, VIDIQ. And it's a way that you can track the stats and stuff, right? And so I'm going to make this full screen real quick. And so what's really interesting here is that, remember, we were at 32 subscribers, and now we're at, guess what? We're at 48. So it's working. Jack's plan's working. And you can see I've changed some things. We were doing just videos, and he said, hey, Dad, you need better pictures. So we're doing better pictures. And you can see how the views have increased, the people watching, the time has increased.
Yep.
This is the one I did with Nick Wood yesterday. So everything is going according to plan. Okay. But what's interesting here is, and I'm going to click back to us, is that last night I was goofing around in vidIQ, and I gave them access to my Facebook account to record the stats from my videos on Facebook, because, hey, if you can't manage what you don't measure, right? I'm interested in that. And the problem with my Facebook link could be from them. So we were just on the phone with my guy, Dan Carr, who helps me with my website and my Facebook and stuff. And so it was an emergency phone call, and he goes, hey, your problem wasn't for me. And I'm like, what did you do? I'm like, well, I did this thing last night. And so after today's show, Dan and I are going to go in there and dig around a little bit, but here's the thing. Maybe it isn't that vidIQ software. Maybe it was me clicking a button. So a lot of times it's user error. So it could be me.
Yeah. North Korean bot.
It could be a North Korean bot, right?
No.
So anyway,
well, and I think Jack is doing a great job. I was impressed, when he was talking just on the work he did, that he dug in, going, the way YouTube's algorithms work is it really is sensitive to color.
Yes.
And that's how you get. And I thought, wow, that was kind of genius. I don't know if he came up with that on his own, knowing Jack, he could have wrote down going, these guys will buy that.
Jack's been doing some research.
Yep.
He's been watching videos. He's been
numbers are showing,
making notes. And he comes into my office and goes, Dad, the reason I was in YouTube last night is because he said, Dad, you need more tags. You need to put tags in your video. And I can't do it from StreamYard because I looked. So I have to do it on YouTube. And that's the reason why I was in there last night, because the video with Nick, I have a thing I can put tags in. So I was doing the tags, and then I saw, oh, you can connect Facebook. Click, right?
Yeah.
So that's what happened. I don't know. I'm not blaming vidIQ. I'm sure more than likely it was me, and we'll get it fixed. But
we just don't know
this morning. So,
and Jack being 16, nice job, Jack. If you watch this when you get up, nice job working.
Yeah, when are you getting up?
And Jack, we know all teenagers, none of them like to talk. So getting him on there, he looked all right, but yeah, he was just dying. He did not want to be talking, but nice job. I'm glad of what he's doing.
So we're going to have some topics in a minute. And so Richard just posted something that we're going to talk about anyway.
Yeah, except I didn't know the second one.
SGI fires Johnny Shell and Dan Marks. Cromerline furloughs all field reps.
That's interesting.
Holy smokes. So we knew I knew the first two. I didn't know anything about Cromerline. So that's Kevin, right? Who else works for Cromerline?
Art Dobie, Larry Tidewater.
Larry Tidewater in Pensacola or wherever, South Florida, right?
He lives in the Carolinas.
Right?
Covers 1,000 of them. Kevin Roth, Art Dobie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know if that means in technical, if McOr is. Now, Cromerline, I believe, they have not been laid off at all. They have kept going the whole time. So, that's new. I did not know that at all. SGIA letting Johnny and Dan Marks go. That, we heard about that on Monday morning. I did. And that was a kick to the gut. Johnny Shell was with SGIA. He ran their technical lab. He was in charge of really promoting the industry, both in digital, sublimation, screen, and everything. And he, I worked with him a lot with Skills USA, so that was sad. Dan Marks, I remember when Dan started with SGIA, probably I think over 20 years ago.
Yeah,
and
it's good. It's an industry shaker for sure. Charles says he was just on a Zoom with Johnny last week.
Yeah. So Charles, you were there. I think I was on that too. And I don't know what'll happen. I'm on the garment decorating committee from there, and
well, let's just throw this out there. Printing United Alliance in Atlanta was canceled 2 days ago.
Yes. So I did check on that and got some information, and basically they're not sure Atlanta will be up to phase 5 in that point, and are canceling it. I do believe also the unsaid is there's probably some vendors that were pulling out, had to play into that also. Right.
Just curious, anybody that's watching, were you planning on going to that show?
Yeah.
Right. So just in the comment, yes, I'm going, or no, I wasn't going to go. Right. Or you can also comment it, what is Printing United? Right.
Printing United is the old SGIA.
Yeah, but maybe they don't know, Alan. That's the whole
true. Yeah.
My whole point. Yep. So
and we're getting a little bit of a delay on the comments. Yeah.
Yeah. Also heard that Printing United Atlanta was a county. That's right, Charles.
Yep, it was.
So thanks for commenting.
Yeah.
So this industry is in a kind of an interesting standpoint, and I think, and I'm very curious how the rest of this year is going to shake out. That's the reason we moved our shirt labs to next year. We weren't confident in our ability to keep everybody who might come safe. That's the reason why we moved them. And so we moved our one in Texas to March. And now I'm thinking, gosh, I hope that's hope that's far enough away, right? I mean, and I don't know, right? And if I had a fast forward button to get to January, I think I would be hitting that like crazy. So,
yeah, and no one knows. And I think, we have to remember while things have flattened some, there are some spikes, some bumps. We have to remember, the world, we're going to have to keep going eventually.
right.
We have to remember to be safe, to be considerate, and to be cautious on there. We got to do the right things, but yeah, we can't hide in the rabbit hole, the spider hole forever.
Well, we can't. And so I've been on the phone with several shops in the last 2 weeks about me coming out to their shop for some work, right? Because that's what I do as a consultant. And, still want to do that. And it's just looking at dates, and we're looking at July. And then I was talking with somebody the other day, and now that July thing is now October.
Sure.
Right? And just because nobody has confidence as to what's going on, and everything is kind of, what's up, right? And so I think it's just we have to. I mean, I want to get back to work, right? But let me tell you, if I do the trip, right, I'm going to come back and I'm going to quarantine in another bedroom, right? And just because I don't know what's out there. I mean, you can Scott, like you can, you cover yourself. It's all blue on your arm. You just don't know, right? And you're going to do some things, but at the same time, I mean, I would go, right, and try, and you just see what's up, and take precautions, of course, right? But
I think the airlines, from what I understand, most of them are all requiring a mask.
Oh yeah, well I have a mask, and like I would be fully armored with hand sanitizer and wipes and masks, and probably
I have in my car.
I don't know.
I am ready to go. We are at Easy Way. Probably July 6th right now is the day where we're going to be released to the hounds. And we're talking about how to do it. How, we want to be aggressive, but we need to be aggressive, but safe. We need to be focused and smart. And, I've been into some shops, and I want to know what their protocols are. I am ready in my car for anything. I have latex gloves. I have 2 masks and multiple neck gaiters. I just got another one. My friends at Sandlot Sports gave me another one. And I have hand sanitizer in my car. So
right.
We're going to keep going, but I think we have to be smart. And just because I might be a little bit more aggressive or confident than some other people, we have to remember that these are our neighbors, these are our family, these are our friends, and everybody's at a different place. And we have to be kind and understanding with everybody on it.
Yes. Right. I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
So Richard says, no screen printing people left at SGIA. Tech info was gone. Yes, he was going. Yeah. And then Shane posted, hey, Facebook Live not working today. Thanks, Shane. We know. Watched the recording earlier in the show.
Yeah.
It's a problem more than likely caused by me, but we'll see. Maybe it's Russian trolls. We don't know. We're going to work that out. So
could be Russian, could be North Korean, could be the people from Trinidad. Who knew?
Yeah, it's probably Marshall Atkinson. So.
Yeah, right there out of Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah. Keith says, hoping to start next year by attending Long Beach in January. So hope it happens. Me too, pal.
And I don't know if anybody saw pictures last Saturday. I took some time with some friends. We went to northern Michigan. I was up at my cottage. I'd been spending the family cottage, spending some time there, and drove across. And I went fishing on Lake Michigan, caught a monstrosity of a lake trout, 17.5 pounds. But close to that, Dan Solomon from Poly One, who has been on Marshall's page, has property there, texts me. And we went, and we kind of, Dan is a little more fearful, so we were just doing elbow bumps, but it was so good. Him and I said, we were there on his property. We were in the Ranger four-wheeler looking at his property, and we were just talking about everything that is Northern Michigan. But you know what we talked about too is no matter what our views are on COVID, on inks, on whatever, on political, this is still family and screen printing. And, you know, I can't wait. I hope Long Beach goes on because it's a great show, but I want to see everybody.
Wasn't it nice hanging out with an industry colleague? That's what I miss so much. I miss, you know, I go to shows and talk and we do our thing together, and I go to booths and I see a lot of printers and stuff, but it's just hanging out with people that you have that common bond with, because let's face it, you know, this is our family, this is our fraternity, this is our group, this is our tribe, whatever you want to call it, right? We're in this together, and it's just so nice to see people. And I can't, we talked about this before, but I can't remember the last time I actually shook somebody's hand, right?
You know, it was weird because I was in an account and he stuck out his hand. I go, we do that. He goes, I do. And I did. And it was so good to do that. I felt like, man, we shake hands. Now we both hit the hand sanitizer right. Richard, hit the high part. Go ahead. But you know, it was so good. And I feel bad because talk about technical and difficulties. I did a Facebook Live with Dan Solomon. It was up for a minute. And then we realized I didn't turn it off. So we were talking about some personal stuff,
right?
You know, his family and stuff on there. And I had to pull it down because you cannot edit those once the video's up. And I felt bad because we were just talking to the industry. And, you know, the stuff with SGIA, we hate it. But you know why it hurts more? And with Chromaline and stuff. Because you know what? It's not just a business decision. Johnny Shell, Dan Marks are friends. They're family.
Yeah.
Art Doby, Kevin Koff, Larry Tywater, the people at Chromaline. Yes, we may compete with them at times. They may be a supplier. They may not. We know them.
Right. I've had beers with those guys. Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, so it's like one of these things where you're like, you feel bad for them because you know what? They all have car payments and mortgages and, you know, careers and things that are going on. And, you know, I've been fired before, right? Yeah. I've been let go. I've quit jobs too, right? Let's face it.
We all have. We've all quit.
And so, you know, just recovering from things, and you know the monumental effort it takes to stop something and then start a new thing. Yeah. Right. It's just, you know, it's like, it's horrible. Right. But it sometimes is exciting too. You know,
and I know when I left my previous employer, I mean, Marshall, you know that I was like going, I'm there. And, you know, everybody says the same thing. The stuff on the back wall is nice. And they go, well, you know, I've had people say through this is, Alan, you're kind of untouchable. No one's untouchable.
Right.
You know what? Yeah. All that on back says is, I always tease that says, everything behind me says that is a man who does not know how to say the word no. Right. You know, but it is still a business. It is still, we all have jobs. Nobody is untouchable. Nobody's expendable. And we are all still family. When one rejoices, we all do. And, you know, when one hurts, we all do. You know, we've had some deaths in the industry of family. And I don't know if it's been, well, I guess it is. Danny Sweem from the president of M&R, his wife passed away.
Right.
She had an illness. And, you know, we all feel that. Right. You know, and I remember Richard is on here. It's been probably 12 years ago being at a show and hearing when Richard had a stroke. And we all heard that. This is before a lot of social media. And it was just like, oh, wow.
Right.
And, you know, we do that. When a few years ago I was down, I missed the show. Richard Greaves filled in for me at ISS Atlanta because I came down with bacterial pneumonia, and I got calls and posts from people I had never met before.
Yeah, I took over all of Greg Kitson's classes last year at ISS.
Absolutely. And yeah, because when it comes down to it, we're family. And we've all been at shows, Marshall. You've been there in a speaker lounge when somebody all of a sudden is ill or their flight's canceled. They're going, who's around that can handle this? You know, I was asked to take one for, I forget what it was. It was a sublimation one. The guy's during a hurricane. He couldn't get out. And what are you going to do? Alan, can you do this? It's like sublimation. Really not my wheelhouse. But I think Dane Clement took it over, stepped up and said, I got this.
Yeah.
You know, we do that for everybody. So we are family. And that was a long run on. I didn't mean to take all that time.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
So Keith has a really great comment. I've said this all along. Shirt Lab created a new family for me. Thank you so much, Keith, for that awesome post. I really appreciate that. And I think your vibe, and you know, one of the things that Jay Bassell talked about at the first Shirt Lab was your vibe attracts your tribe, right? And that's the reason why we named it Shirt Lab Tribe, was that comment. And I think that's exactly right. And that really shows, you know, kind of what Tom and I are trying to do with Shirt Lab. And by the way, if you haven't yet, join Shirt Lab Tribe.
Absolutely.
Right? And there's a lot of stuff going on in there. And right now it's $49 a month to get in there. And that'll never go up if you're in there right now. It's the first 100 shops. And then we're going to, and we think that's going to be probably to the end of the year. And then once we get to 100, it's going to be 99. But we're doing lots of good stuff in there. And we had Jay actually did yesterday. We did a whole thing on LinkedIn, and we got who's next. Oh, Lori Feldman's next week. And she's going to be doing a whole presentation on your top 6 email drip marketing campaigns that you need. Right. And so we're doing a weekly presentation in our private group every single week. And so if you like Shirt Lab Summit, we're doing something in there every week. Right. So anyway, that's my little commercial.
And I think it's great, especially, you know, Richard posted before that, you know, with SGIA being moved through Printing United, there is tons and tons of technical content that is not being put back up, and we don't know why. We don't know what the plan is.
Well, Richard and I are working out something right now for him to help us get some of his Library of Alexandria like resources that he has into our Shirt Lab learning. We're doing a learning program thing. We're building up the architecture right now for that. And we're trying to like figure out how we're going to do it and everything. It's like, it's a big project. And so he's going to be helping with that. And by the way, Richard, we need to talk. So let's get on the phone next week.
And I know, we don't know, Richard Greaves is the keeper of the history for our industry. He always just been that. His whole life has been this. As he likes to say, he used to be in his father's landscaping business until he ran away and joined the circus that is screen printing.
Yeah.
And, but you know, a lot of my photos and stuff and seminars I've done were Richard Greaves photos. And actually, when I just did for Tribe, Printing Unite, the Printing Better Whites. Yeah, a lot of those pictures is Richard redid it. Well, he redid it when he filled in for me. Right, I was sick. So yeah. So anybody needs anything? Yeah, he's your guy.
All right, let's get to our next topic, which is this one. Sales and marketing. Hey, that's quite the broad topic here, Alan.
We never talk about that.
Yeah. So what do we mean by sales and marketing? So before we got on, we had quite the little mini chat about it. So what's going on with this?
Well, I think, you know, we've talked back in the 80s and 90s, everything was about operations. And I teach on operations. I teach on print process and stuff. And that is, I'm not denying the importance of it. It is. You want to be profitable, you have to be profitable and all that. We now have realized that most people don't market. And a lot of what Marshall does, what Shirt Lab does, is sales and marketing. And what we came up with this is, I think, you know, I remember as a young sales guy in the industry. I knew sales. I didn't understand marketing. And it was explained to me in the simplest terms as it could be in 1987 is it's two sides of a coin. You can't have one without the other. Marketing, how it was explained to me, was marketing is what you do to get the phone to ring when we had phones and landlines, and that was the only thing, is getting the potential customer or the customer to call you. Sales was knowing what to do once you were talking to them.
Right.
And that's what brought this up. And I think there is a lot of people I'm seeing, I'm marketing. Are you selling? What are you doing with the marketing and the content and the connections that you have?
Right.
Have you moved into that sales process?
Right.
And that's how we came up with this.
Yeah. So, in the definitions that I've been using is marketing is creating a customer, and branding is creating the emotional link to the customer. And so that's kind of the terms. And then Alan had a caveat to that first phrase. What was your thing?
Well, I don't think they're a customer until they buy something. I think they're a prospect.
Or potential customer.
Potential on there. So once you have that, they've seen your link, your brand and stuff. They're going, wow. They're feeling that vibe. They're feeling that emotional connection, community, almost in a way.
Yep. Right.
And they're wanting to be part of that. They are there, and they're looking at stuff, and now they are creating that potential where they're contacting you on that product, on your service, on whatever. And now you have to just open the door and say, come on in and welcome to the family.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. And I would also just throw out there that a lot of people sell based on the data, right? So this is a 50-50 shirt, and we're going to print this and whatever, and here's the specs. It's, and most people don't buy on that.
No,
right? If you think about it, most people, some people do. There's people who really get, they nerd out on stuff, and they're going to look for all the, like for instance, I just bought a new computer, right? Mm-hmm. And it was all about the technical specifications because I'm trying to solve a problem, right?
Sure.
But that's how I dug into that, right? And but people buy usually on solving some sort of emotional problem, right? Something makes them happy, or it makes them part of the community or the tribe or the thing, or it's a memory or whatever. That's what they're buying on. And they're like, if you think about where you take your girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife or whatever out to dinner, right? You're not buying the meal, you're buying the experience of that meal, right? What is it like, especially if you're on a date, right? Yep. It's so for me, I want to make my wife happy, usually it's like we're going to where she wants to go because I want to make her happy, because I really don't care most of the time, right?
Right.
So it's like I want her to be happy, and that money that I'm paying that I can make her happy, that's the price of admission to that, right? And so it's not actually what we're eating, it's the fact that she doesn't have to cook and she likes Mexican food. So that's where we're going, right? And the fact that the fajitas are $12 or they're $14 or whatever, I don't care, right? This doesn't matter. And a lot of people buy with that, right? And so we get really hung up a lot of times on these tiny details, and we don't sell that emotion, right? We don't sell that link. What's the phrase? Don't sell the steak, sell the sizzle, right?
Absolutely.
And so to me, that's marketing. Right. Yep. That's what we're doing. We're creating a customer. We're creating that, that thing, right? That link to them. Right. And of course, sales is closing the deal. Right. And so you have to be able to do that. And, you're a top flight sales guy. Right. So there's all these techniques that you do probably to close deals and get people to buy from you. And I think your top one, just from an outsider's perspective, is the fact that you're helping people solve the problem that they have. So it isn't a hard sell It's the fact that they like you. You solve the problems for them, whatever. And then they're willing to say, you know what, I'll use your product just because I like you. Right?
Yeah.
That's how you're closing deals. Am I wrong with that?
No, you're absolutely right, because what it does is it takes the cost out of it. You are providing a solution. So, but to get to that solution, Marshall, you're absolutely right, is you have to ask questions and listen to them of what their problem is. Many times your client doesn't know the problem. And from our listeners' point of view, I need shirts. I've seen your ads. I like your brand. I saw the commercial. I listened to whatever.
Right.
I'm liking what I see. I'm now talking to you and I need shirts. Great. We can do 100 shirts, on here, black, Gildan and all that. What you didn't ask was, it's not about the price. You know what they're into is they're going, we want a sustainable product. Our company is very much into sustainability, and we want to continue this. Well, now you're into an organic cotton, a hemp, an all-made, and you need to know and be able to share the story.
Right.
Of, we have a product that is very soft. It's very fashionable. It contains 6 water bottles plus Model, and then USA organic cotton. On top of that, also, it pays 3 times the living wage in the country.
Got a better story.
And right? Now your client is going, that's what I'm looking for. And
especially if they're their vacation Bible school or a church group or a philanthropy or whatever, or it's going to appeal to them more than anything.
But you got to ask the questions about their business, about their person, what drives them. And then when you share the story, you share the product, and you let them know, and they're going, that's exactly what you want. The buying signal. This is where that's what I want.
Yeah.
Well, 100, should we do 200 or will 100 be enough? Oh no, 200. Should we do 200? Yes, fine. I always start with a higher number. No, just 100. Great. 4 color? No, 1 color. Okay, let them tell you. And you know what they didn't ask? The price.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. So there's the 4 things in a sales cycle: know, like, trust, buy.
Yep.
Right? Marketing is the first 3. Sales is number 4.
Yep.
So you got to do the first 3 to get to number 4. People just don't show up out of nowhere buying. It's like, hey, I got a bunch of money, take it. Right? That usually doesn't happen much. Yeah. It happens, maybe with me when I'm, at the grocery store and I want some ice cream or something. But
I think there is a time still, especially if I'm selling larger items and stuff like that.
Right.
You can't be afraid to ask them what their budget is, because if they're looking, if you're showing them the Fiat Denali, but they're really looking for, a Geo Metro, that's a big leap right there.
Well, we're looking for alignment. We're looking for alignment and fit, right?
Yep,
it has to be right. Alignment and fit. And I think the more questions you ask, right? Because you are the expert, you are the authority. And so the more questions you ask allows you to solve their problems better, right? Because you have more data, you have more information. And so some of the questions you might ask, especially in the apparel world, is how are you using the shirt? What is important to you? What does disaster look like? I couldn't get my Facebook page to load, right? What does disaster look like for you, right? And so if you know these things, right, you can help them, because you're gonna have better choices. And so, I got the perfect thing for you, right? And
I think good branding and marketing gets you that conversation, brings you right to that conversation there. And now they've already pretty much trusted you.
Yeah, right.
Now you just got to open the door, invite them into the family. And and there's a lot of things to that. There are still the things one of the books I've read and listened to on an audiobook multiple times. It's an older book. It's called Spin Selling. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
It's been around forever.
Needs and wants.
Exactly. What do they, that's the difference. I want a Fiat Denali. I need a Jeep.
Right.
That's what I drive on there. I want a house right in West Palm on the water. I actually need what I need is Davison, Michigan, where I live.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, so here's the thing is this is a Q&A show. So please just don't let me and Alan ramble, right? Share your questions on sales and marketing because that's our current topic. But also if you have something that that actually works for you, that you kill it, right? Throw that in the comment too, because this is what makes the show run.
Absolutely. What I'd love to know sales wise, what's working for you out there? What are the success stories you have? What can you share that, hey, I learn from stuff all the time. I'm always learning. I'm always reading. And I am by far not the sales expert.
I'll tell you
doing it a while.
A phrase that closed the deal for me this week. You ready? I learned it. Where did I learn it? Where do you think I learned it? I learned it from SureLab. Right. So one of our speakers, Lori Feldman, right, spoke at SureLab St. Louis. So she shared this phrase, and it's a killer, right? Which is, are you waiting on me or am I waiting on you?
Yes. I like that.
I used that this week with somebody, and it closed the deal for me, right? So it's like, oh, it's totally me. We're doing it, right?
I did the same thing. I emailed an account we've been working with on a little bit. They're with a competitive product. We had, when I was down there with them, great conversation and stuff. And I just said, hey, on this, are you waiting on me or am I waiting on you? And he replied back. He goes, actually, you're waiting on me. He goes, Alan, I want to go, but I don't want to do it now when we get automatic reclaim here in by the end of the year. That's when we're going to make the switch.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Keith says, never be afraid to ask for their budget and never be afraid to quote, even if it sounds expensive to you. If you've asked me the right questions, it'll work most of the time. Yeah. And here's the thing. I'll tell you in sales, and I'm a mediocre salesperson. I'm not like the best, Alan Howe here.
Oh no, I'm far from
Alan level. But a lot of times we have a preconceived notion in our brain as to what something should be worth. Yeah. And something that you go, oh my God, $10,000 or $100,000 or $1 million, that's just too much. For other people, they look at that and they go, drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
And so it's like you appreciate things from how you view it, not necessarily how somebody else views it. And so don't be afraid to say, hey, this is what it's worth.
I love this, what Keith put about never be afraid to quote. Actually, he's still the owner of our company. John Schluter from Easy Way, early on, probably around 1999, 2000, him and I were talking. And, it's on washout booths and things like that. He said, when you quote a product, you increase the sales cycle up by 10%. So if I'm talking to somebody on it and there's remote interest, I'm usually doing a quote on it. So they have something in their hands, something viable right there. And it shows I'm serious. I know they're serious, and let go. And sometimes I just don't do it without telling them. I said, look, how about if I get a quote up? That way we have some hard numbers and something for you to look at. And they'll tell you right then, I think that's premature at this time, or no, that would be great. Okay, great. Now I've just heard the inflection in their voice. I know they're a little bit more serious. So that was great. Right. I love that.
Right. And we need to, but to get to that point, we need to really understand them fully, because you don't want to be quoting like the wrong thing or quantity or whatever. So.
Yeah, that goes without saying. Ask your question. The other thing too, I see a lot of people in sales where they just bring out the whole catalog and say, here, you want a shirt? Here's the catalog.
It's the same catalog.
Yeah, bam, tell me what you want. No, when you ask questions, and I do this with products, it'll show if you're talking to me about your business or a piece of equipment, I'm asking questions, and what I'm doing is the window is here, and I keep every question, I'm narrowing it down to there. And then I'm going to have a product going, here's what I believe you need. This. Right. Now I have plan B in my back pocket. You just don't see it. And I think sometimes We have so much information in the world that we overload them with way too many decisions. You're the expert. They've come to you.
Right.
Be the expert.
Right. Right. All right. So if you're watching, leave those comments, ask those questions. Thank you so much, Keith.
Keith,
We've got one last topic today.
Yep.
And let me pull that up. So it's production scheduling with limited staff, right? So I've been talking with some shops this week, and I know a lot of people aren't running at full capacity, right? So they had 10 employees in their shop, or 30 employees in their shop, or whatever it was, and they've got maybe 60 or 70% of their people back, right? And they're busy right now trying to get sales. They're trying to build it back up. And before they can get everybody back, right, they need the sales to support that level. Okay. Right. So here's the potential catch-22 coming. You can see it a mile off, right? Sell, not enough people. Right. And then what happens is you're juggling all this stuff and you drop one of the balls because you don't have enough people. Mm-hmm. I see this like as just red nuclear alarm problem around the corner for a lot of shops. And what I want to tell you is just make sure that you understand your capacity level, your production scheduling, that you're hitting right now. What we need to be doing is making sure we're keeping all of our promises. So if that job has to ship Friday, you better have that done on Thursday, right? And it can't be Monday.
Yeah.
Right. And because what we need more than anything right now are referrals. We need people to be saying, hey, these guys are awesome. They knock it out of the park, because that is going to generate more business for you than anything that you can probably be doing.
Yep.
Customer testimonials and that type of stuff, where it's a video or a Google or whatever, Yelp, right? We need people to be in our corner, and we need to be hitting home runs every single time. And what I'm really scared of in a lot of shops is the fact that they don't have enough people to do this. And as we bring on more sales and more clients and reactivate customers and stuff, this becomes an issue. So I really want to kind of bring that up. So if you're concerned about this, right, leave a comment or question so we can kind of help you with this right now. So while we're waiting, and hopefully somebody writes something, what is your thoughts on this, Alan?
Well, I see it a lot, and I get excited when I see the clients that are actually getting it and actually are doing something about it. I shared with you earlier about a client. He has a couple automatics. He has part of his staff back. He got a monster order in. He didn't expect to get it. He's printed for this company before.
How big was it?
It's going to be between 7,500 and 10,000 shirts.
Right.
Great. And everybody's going, wow, I'd kill for that. Dilemma. Does he bring his people back? Does he set up 3 presses? Does he want to run one for 4 days or whatever, for 2 days? Mm-hmm. What does he do? Because he has some other orders. They're smaller and they're high profitable also. So what he did is he contracted it out to his contractor, who is slow. And they said, we would love to do that. It'll be done in 4 days and delivered by 4 days. And he's going to make $4,000 profit by shuffling a PO.
Right. Right.
And still be able to do his other jobs. And
that's just awesome.
Yeah.
So by the way, I've got my blog article for tomorrow is all about sales is the lifeblood of your business. And part of that, I did some research for the article. And so I wanted to see, as far as contracting things out, what is the sales total for that? And I was trying to find 2019 stats, and I couldn't find it. And I didn't, frankly, want to spend hours on it. So I just found the first thing I could look for was actually 2018 stats. And I think that's probably close enough. But for the promotional products industry, that's a $23 billion industry. So these are the folks that, do the marketing, right? So it's promotional marketing. And the apparel chunk of that is the largest segment of that. And I told you this before the show. Do you remember the figure that I looked up? Do you remember what that was?
16 million?
$617 million.
I was a little off.
You're a little off by 10x, right?
Yeah.
$617 million worth of sales. Now, this isn't just screen printing. This is embroidery and heat press and dye sub and everything, right? Decorated apparel for the promo world, right? Is 607, and this is 2018. So it probably went up last year. It's probably down this year, right? So the point here is that it's a chunk of cash. And none of these people, none of them are doing their own production. Right?
Exactly.
So what I want to tell you now, some of this is overseas, some of this is domestic. This is a lot of stuff going on, right? But what I want to tell you is that you totally don't need to do the production all the time. And in the article, one of the things I talk about is the fact that we label ourselves all the time. You know, I'm a screen printer. I'm an embroiderer.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what you do those things. Those are activities.
Yep.
Those are the activities that you do. You know what you are? You're a businessman. You're a businesswoman, right? You're an entrepreneur. That's what you are.
You are a garment decorating expert.
So what I want you to think about here is, are you in this to print shirts or embroider shirts or whatever your process is? Maybe it's a bunch of them, right? Or are you in this to make money?
Absolutely.
I would argue you're in this to make money.
Yeah. And when you look at it that way, then your scheduling becomes easier, because with promotional products and having a good contractors out there of knowing that, you can print and do the activity that makes you the biggest profit, but you can also be utilizing this other production and just by shuffling paper, shuffling a PO number.
Yeah.
And that's called smart.
Yeah. So my entire career in this industry, when I was running shops, is with the contract side of things.
Yep.
Right. So that's how I know this stuff. Right. How I know this stuff is because that's what I did since 1993. Right. So long time. Richard, our pal, says, my favorite stories are I had to make a massive effort to deliver an order on time. Yes, I've had those massive efforts, right? So I have, in my career, worked plenty 100-hour weeks. Just, oh my God, right? And because that's what you sign up for, right? And as a consultant, I'm less, right? I have some big weeks, right? And lately I'm in the probably 50 to 60 hour range, which to me is like, that's easy, right?
Yeah. And you know why we do that? Because better to work your tail end off, make that deadline on time, because you don't want the negative review.
You can't be late. Somebody wants that order.
What was it back in the day, sales and marketing and stuff? It was, you can have price, you can have quality, or you could have on-time delivery. You can have 2, but you can't have 3. Well, I don't believe that's true anymore. Nope. You need to have all 3. Fair pricing, good quality, and on-time delivery. Because if you can't do it, someone will.
Right. Yeah, I was talking with a shop owner earlier this week, and they were like in a 10 to 14 business day window. They called me up. It's like, well, yeah, this is what we do. What do you think? I go like, oh my God, do you still have customers? I couldn't believe it, right? 10 to 14 business days. I'm like, where should we be? I go, 3. Right? And like, how would we do that? I go, I can help you with that, right? That's what I do, right? 10 to 14 business days. I can't believe they still, usually in 3 to 5 is where where you really need to live right now. And I know tons of people are trying desperately hard to be in the 1 to 2 because we're in the Amazon era, right? That's where we are, right? And right now we're struggling because of delivery and availability of garments and all the other, the zombie apocalypse and all these other things. But your customers, because of fast food drive-through, Amazon, everything else where they can it's instantly here. That's kind of the expectation we have. Right. And
exactly. It's the instant gratification that we have, and that's where we're at. And you learn to do it. And we got to do it now. 2 weeks doesn't cut it. 1995, that was normal and acceptable. Not anymore.
Right. I can get anything on the planet with this thing.
Right here, it just came. My new little thing, dry erase surface. 6 foot by 4 foot by 6 foot. Ordered it 2 days ago. Here it is, before noon at my place.
Yeah, from Amazon.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just ordered a computer from them like a couple of days ago. So it's like, it's they have changed the face of business for everybody. And so the expectations that our customers have now are all based on the best practices of other businesses.
Yep.
And so
Keith put a post up there too.
Did he?
He did a 2-parter.
Oh, thanks. I'm struggling with this right now. I'm having to do much myself right now. I'm going to have to bring one more person pack, even though it's a bit scary. We're a small shop, 5 people. We're running with just 3. We're picking up, but still at 50% of normal. So Keith, maybe it's a part-time thing, right? Yeah. And the other thing that you might, and this is something I've been advising people is, if you're thinking about bringing people back and you're unsure, right? How much would you pay that person, right? Shove that into a savings account for a week or 2. And do you miss the money? And if you do, maybe you can't bring them back. But if it's okay, you can. And guess what? Now you got 2 weeks of their pay in a bank account saved. If sales drop a little bit, you've got them covered for at least 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's just something you might want to try. And I
don't know what Keith's orders are. Keith, is there anything that before Keith, we've met, you're not the type of person you want to bring someone back, then lay them right back off.
Right.
Things drop. Is there some of this business? Maybe, is there a screen printer you can contract it out to? Is it a promotional? Will you send it out, or someone that can help you out with that? They can still make profit, but without really with that person. And those are things to look at.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, yesterday I interviewed Nick Wood about outsourcing your art team, right? So if you're doing all their art yourself, right, maybe it's time to look at something like that, and outsourcing your marketing, or there are other things, right? So I've been doing that myself, and I was talking to Alan earlier about me. I've got some people helping me with things. So I've got so many items on my plate right now. I'm like losing the juggling battle. Yeah. So I've hired some people to do it. And is it costing me money? Yes. Right. Is it money that I have? It's questionable. Right. But I think in the long run, it's going to pay off for me, because I now can get more things done in a day. Right. And
I think as a manufacturer, with dealing with printers and stuff, just because you have that embroidery machine, that screen print machine, that sublimation machine, it's not always more profitable to do it yourself. You may want to send it out.
Right. All right. We got a minute or 2 left. Any last minute thoughts to wrap up?
I want to have
we don't, YouTube only show today.
You know what? Not too bad. Thank you, everybody that followed the breadcrumbs. So this is nice. I actually signed up. I was late to the party. I did this afternoon to YouTube. Subscribe to it. So, but I want to say thank you to everybody. I want to say thank you to everybody. We've been talking about not seeing people and doing that. I am honored. I am glad you are part of my community, my industry family, and I cannot wait to where we can get together again.
I can't wait. You know, one of these things is I usually shake people's hands. I think I'm giving everybody a hug, right? Right. I like hugging people, but some people don't want to be hugged. But I think I'm just going to be, it's bear hug city. You know,
it's going to be,
we're all going to be like, all going to be crying and hugging and just, oh man, it's going to be a mess.
We were actually talking, and we were in a meeting at our company and talking about shows, going, who would come? And I actually talked about, I can't remember if it was Keith or Michael that said on shows, I would go. Some of the quote was, I would go if people I knew and wanted to see were there above everything else. And that was big. So,
right. So Keith says, thanks, guys. Hey, thank you, Keith. We appreciate you.
Hey, update. I haven't checked. How's Michael Wolbrake doing? Let's talk about.
I don't know. I've been so selfishly focused on everything I'm doing.
Me too. I just thought about
I need to reach out to him, actually, and maybe we'll give him a call later today. So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, be thinking of everybody. Check on your neighbors. Be safe, everybody. Be smart. Be safe.
Right. And just real quick, last minute, you need to get a hold of Alan. That's his email. I'm positive that he'll help you.
You know what? I told Marshall. Keith just put that Mike. He's doing good. So that's awesome.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. I just got a message. I did a seminar for Shirt Lab Tribe, and I got a message from a company that I've met them before. Not really a client. I've never been to their shop, but it was a long 2-part message of just how much they appreciated, the information. And this is a shop. The stuff I taught that he got, I'm going, wow. Everybody's just really stepping back and looking at everything in their process. And, I just appreciated the reach out like that. So
yeah, right.
Everybody.
It's important. As you know, I create lots of content, right? And my favorite things are emails from people that said, hey, I read that blog article that you wrote 2 years ago, and it changed this thing, right?
Yeah.
It makes my day because I hardly know. So a lot of the stuff that I create, I just throw it out there into outer space, and you don't know what happens, right? And so it's really good to hear that stuff.
I feel bad because, after doing that, someone she goes, this is my favorite seminar from Ellen. I've seen it twice. And I can't remember her being in the class. But, we do so many and there's so many people. I feel horrible on it.
Thanks, Dean.
That's awesome.
So we're going to make Jack a monthly kind of mini thing, right? And so I don't know about next week, but he'll be on. So I'll put it this way. You're going to have to watch the show to see if Jack's going to be there.
That's right. It'll be a surprise.
Right. So, hey, thank you. So with that, I think that's a good high note to end the show on today. Thank you so much for following the breadcrumbs and finding us on YouTube. And if you came from Facebook and didn't see us, watch the beginning of the show and we talk about what happened. So Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you.
Be safe. Have a great weekend.